What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. We just got back from taking our Foxbody on a 1,000-mile round trip to go to the LMR Cruise in. And just thinking about this, there's several things that I did before we left, because you got to think, if you're going to take a 30-year-old car, there's probably some precautions that you need to take. So let's talk about that before taking your car on a 1,000-mile round trip. So look, guys, this car did phenomenal. Actually get about 22 miles to the gallon on the highway, running at about 70-75 miles an hour with 355 gears. This was actually the last trip this car will ever have being a push rod, because this next weekend, motor's coming out and I'm putting a Coyote in it. So what are some of the things that you need to think about? What are some of the things that you might forget about? And that's some things that we really got to talk about. So when you think, I mean, the normal stuff, of course, make sure you don't have any major leaks or anything. You know, every one of these cars, if it's a Windsor Ford, it's probably got a small rear main leak. That's not a big deal. Now, if it's pouring, that's something else to consider. Check your fluids. Check to make sure you don't have any small leaks with the antifreeze. Make sure you check your lower and upper radiator hoses. Make sure there's no leaks there, any splits, any bulges, something like that, because that's something to definitely take you down. Also, make sure you check your serpentine belt out really good. Make sure it's not cracked. That's something else that's going to take you, break you down really quick with something simple that can be changed and taken care of. Make sure it's not cracked, things like that. So go over your engine bay, look under the car, make sure you don't have anything obvious. Check all your air pressures in your tires. These are cars that we don't drive all the time. It's easy to forget. Cars we drive now that are modern cars that are daily drivers usually have an air pressure monitor in them. These, let's go ahead and check. And speaking of air pressure, this is one you definitely don't want to forget. What if you have a flat? We don't think about it. I carry a spare in my tire. I make sure that I have all my spare tire kit, my tools. Make sure you have the locking lug for these if you have locking lugs. Think about that. I went and got my spare tire, pulled it out, and guess what? When I pulled my spare tire out, it's a fine, but it's old. It's a very old spare tire. Now, mine would have come out of like an SN95 or a New Edge, because it's a 5 lug, but it did come out of a Mustang. It needed air. Those things usually hold 50 to 60 psi, and I think it had like 15 or 20 psi. So if you just felt it, it kind of still feel aired up, right? Now, if you'd have put it on the car, we'd have had a problem. So get your gauge out, check your spare, make sure you've got all the tools in case you're going to need it. That's the thing, is we drove this car, there was no chaser, no follower or anything. We drove it over 1,000 miles round trip from Springfield, Missouri to Fort Worth and some areas in that way, and then come back. Something else you want to consider. Think about bringing some tools. Think about bringing just an all-in-one tool kit. Also bring some electric supplies, everything from electrical tape to, bring some strippers, splicer. Think about one other thing that could happen too that could be a big issue. Have spare fuses when you take a trip. If you blow a fuse, you want to have a spare fuse. So just thinking about some of those things, guys, on this quick video. But sometimes we, as good as we are with these cars, sometimes we don't always think about all the little things. But, just go through that checklist. If you got to make yourself a checklist, whether, go through there and say, hey, I need some tools. I need some miscellaneous tools, everything from stuff like channel locks, crescents, your, electrical tools, electrical tape, have a good flashlight. Also, always have jumper cables in your car, or a jump box or something like that. I have both. Think about all those little things you need to take. Serpentine belt, do you want to take an extra one? These cars have never been known for throwing one. It can happen, but these things get old. Don't just assume it's good just because it was good the last time you drove it. So always things to consider, guys. I appreciate you watching the video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.